Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are above replacement radio. And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing very well today. We are 2 games into the World Series. We are, despite your prediction of a sweep, not going to have a sweep. We found that out as early as possible. We are knotted up at 1. And this has been a very fascinating series. I genuinely feel like I don't know who's going to win, which is, I think, where you would want to be after game 2 in a series where you don't really have a rooting interest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think game 1 provided a very good perspective shift because,
yes,
obviously the Dodgers, went through the Brewers like hot butter, and the Blue Jays went to 7 with the Mariners, and it was a very tough series. And even in the last game, they had to scratch and claw for that win. So it looked like it could be a huge difference of skill going at it. But yeah, the Blue Jays managed to score 11 runs off of the Dodgers pitching staff in game 1. And yeah, it definitely, as a neutral fan, definitely gave me some hope for how the series was going to look for this, 5 to 7 games.
Yeah, so I guess we could just start with game 1. Like you mentioned, the storyline here was just a massive statement win from the Blue Jays, 11-4, most notably a 9-run 6th inning on the back of a grand slam by Addison Barger, of a 2-run home run by Alejandro Kirk, a bunch of station-to-station offense that led to that grand slam. It was kind of the best of both worlds, right? Like, you got the, John Smoltz, I'm sure, was very happy with how the inning started, and then the Barger grand slam happened. He was like, oh, yeah, I guess this is a home run hitting team too. Doesn't have to just be a bunch of station to station. No, this was a very dynamic win for the Blue Jays. Something that I found interesting. Like, if you watch this game, the Blue Jays were in command offensively for much of it. I know the Dodgers did score the first 2 runs. The Blue Jays answered with a 2-run Varsho home run, but pretty clearly the Jays were the better offensive team. They led an expected batting average 326 to 163. Dodgers actually had a better hard hit rate in this game.
Yeah.
By 3.8%, they had a better hard hit rate.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with, why that didn't maybe translate is because, hard hit rate is per batted ball, and the Dodgers struck out a lot more than the Blue Jays did. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why the Blue Jays were able to succeed despite that. But yeah, the Blue Jays had a 326 expected batting average for the day. Dodgers were at 163. So the result seemed to make sense based on the quality of contact.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a bunch of notes for this game. Is there anywhere in particular that you want to start?
I think what was most striking to me about this game in particular was how the Blue Jays were able to fend off Blake Snell from throwing another absolute, shutdown performance.
That was my takeaway as well.
Yeah, because, we talked about Snell last, or maybe not last episode, but the episode before, where we talked about, Snell had I think a 0.86 ERA and a 1.18 FIP in the 3 playoff starts that he had through the LCS. He had a 39% whiff rate in those 3 games. On Friday, it was 21%. So that's kind of the, as cliche as it is, that's kind of the magic of the Blue Jays offense. They do find a way to make contact more than any other team in baseball. And yeah, they absolutely showed that, and it worked in their favor. You have some good notes on how much they were able to just foul off pitches and keep at bats alive. 34% of the 2-strike pitches thrown by Snell were foul balls, which was the highest rate against that he had in 56 starts. So yeah, to me, it was kind of the story of the Blue Jays kind of finally, brought Snell down to earth a little bit when he had been so unstoppable against, the Reds, the Phillies, and
Phillies
the
and the
Brewers.
Brewers. Yeah, honestly, I mean, the Blue Jays have hit good pitching very well this entire postseason. They tagged Max Fried for 7 runs. They got to Logan Gilbert twice in the ALCS. They got to Luis Castillo at home. They got to George Kirby in one of the LCS games, and obviously Snell tonight. So, yeah, I mean, they've been pretty immune to, outside of last night, good pitching in this postseason. And I've just the Snell outing kind of stunned me, to be honest. Like, this was a way that we really don't see Blake Snell getting dominated that often. He has his occasional start where he gives up runs, but he's usually still striking guys out. He has his starts where he's walking a lot of guys, but he's able to get out of it. He just didn't have any of that. As you mentioned, 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts on 100 pitches in 5+ innings. And obviously, I mentioned the foul balls, and I think the big thing with the foul balls is it rides the pitch count, and that's how you quickly get to the Dodgers bullpen, which ultimately, made the big statement in this game that they are a problem. I think we've been kind of waiting all postseason for that Dodgers bullpen moment. We're like, yeah, that's right. This is who that bullpen is. And this was probably the first game where we saw it. But some more numbers on Snell. It was his fourth time allowing 8+ hits in his last 75 starts. That goes back to 2022. It was his second time allowing 5 earned runs in 32 starts. That goes back to the start of last year. The damage started on a, to this point, kind of forgotten game-tying 2-run home run to Dalton Varsho. And this was the first time that Dalton Varsho had homered against the lefty on a pitch that was more than 93 miles an hour, and it was 96. Velocity from the left side is something that Varsho has never handled very well, but he got Snell here, and it was not a particularly good pitch. It was pretty down the middle, but that was pretty crazy, and it was also the first home run that Snell had allowed against a left-handed hitter in 129 batters. So by many metrics, this was an uncharacteristically bad outing from Blake Snell. I think it says more about the Blue Jays than it does about him. It was just, I mean, my thought after this game was, man, if they could do this to Blake Snell, how can you have any confidence in the rest of the pitchers in this rotation? And Yoshinobu Yamamoto answered that question, the night after. But yeah, just the what they did against Blake Snell was just crazy to me.
Yeah, I think what's most stunning about it is, like, you mentioned they tagged Fried, they tagged Kirby, and those guys are very good pitchers, kind of
For
maybe
eight
in Snell's
runs, yeah.
caliber to some degree, but their strength is either weak contact or walk prevention, and their strikeout rates are usually fairly good, but not to the sensational level that Blake Snell's in.
Yeah, you're
And
right. Those are different types of dominance.
yeah, yes. Blake Snell, his career strikeout rate is over 30%, which is absolutely ridiculous. In the playoffs, his career strikeout rate in the playoffs is also above 30%. And his strikeout rate in the 2025 playoffs entering game one of the World Series was 39%. So seeing was such a turn of events, whereas other pitchers, you you aren't as surprised when maybe they're not striking the world out. When it's Blake Snell and he's not getting, at least a strikeout per inning, especially when you're facing that many batters, it is very, it is pretty stunning, as you put it.
Yeah, and I think we kind of learned tonight how the Blue Jays need to win these games. They need to, do what they can against the starter, get them out as quick as possible, and then let this offense feast on that bullpen because it's a matchup made in hell where you get the Dodgers bullpen had to get 12 outs, and obviously, they didn't exact Anthony Bonda did not exactly inherit a friendly situation. He came in with the bases loaded and nobody out. Actually, sorry, it was Emmett Sheehan who came out of the bullpen first. But I mean, he got tagged. He faced 3 batters, all of them reached, or excuse me, all but one reached. Bonda gave up the grand slam. And then Robleski and Klein, to their credit, they both pitched clean innings, but it came after the Blue Jays had already scored 11 runs. I don't think that was a big momentum swing in that inning.
Right, right. Yeah, there's a reason why the
Yeah,
why Dave Roberts has been letting his pitchers go as long as he has. And it's
yeah,
because, the the Dodgers starters third and maybe fourth time through the order are
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 still
usually
probably
going to be
better than most of the relievers in that bullpen.
exactly. So,
There are so
um,
many times this postseason, I'm like, man, why are they going to Trinan again? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's actually the best guy that they have other than Roki Sasaki.
right,
It's
yeah,
that's just how things are.
you can't have
Um,
Sasaki getting 9 outs.
yeah, and
Can't be doing that.
we obviously saw in last night's game in game two that if the Dodgers need their starters to go as deep in the games as possible to give themselves the best chance, and well, you just so happen to have gotten the very best out of Yamamoto. We'll get to that. I had some other quick notes that I wanted to run through. Obviously the bullpen, 4 6 earned runs, 1 walk, no strikeouts in 12 outs, and 2 home runs allowed. One thing that I appreciate about the Dodgers, I noticed kind of early, Tommy Edman was hitting right-handed against Trey Savage. Tommy Edman, of course, is a switch hitter. Trey Savage is right-handed, so naturally, I think most other managers would have him hit lefty as is standard procedure. Edman was hitting righty, which he had only done against 3 other pitchers all year. 3 other right-handed pitchers all year: John Curtis, Emmanuel Clase, and Tommy Kahnle. Because as we talked about in the Yankees series, Savage has reverse splits. He had them in the minors. He has them in his brief stint in the majors. Lefties just don't hit his splitter well. They don't hit really any of his stuff well, and it didn't really matter that much. But I just, it was something that I wanted to note because, I think this is an area, a very small thing where just the Dodgers and what they know and what they do, it stands out. People love to point to the money and they love to point to the fact that they can just buy all these great players and then put this God squad together. I don't think there are very many managers that would have had Tommy Edman hit righty against Trey Savage. Like that's a little thing that stuck out to me where it's like these people are very smart. They are the smartest in the league, among the smartest. And it's stuff like that really just points it out to me.
Yeah, and it makes sense, like kind of watching you Savage pitch. His two best pitches, or his best pitch is definitely the splitter, and that's obviously moving away from lefties, so it puts lefties at a disadvantage there. And then even his slider doesn't have a lot of horizontal break. It has negative 6.4 inches of movement compared to the rest of the league. So he's way below average on horizontal break on his slider. So it's going, you're less punished as a righty facing that slider. And then the fastball, obviously kind of just goes straight. So yeah, I can see with Savage's pitching style why it's more beneficial to hit as a righty. And obviously the Dodgers took note of that. I don't think that was necessarily like Edmonds' own decision. I think that was probably just a
It might have
recommendation.
been either way. Like the fact that they had it happen, like I think very few managers would have had that happen.
Yeah, right. I mean, the only other time I can recall, like I remember when Tim Wakefield pitched for the Red Sox, there were a couple switch hitters that hit righty um against him,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's knuckleball's a whole nother world with you Savage is kind of a regular compared to a knuckleball or a regular pitcher, so that is a cool little tidbit for sure.
Mm-hmm. On the topic of Savage, I did want to mention this. He really didn't have his best stuff. He only pitched 4 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Certainly not an outing to write home about, but he did enough. Obviously, to it helps when the opposing when your lineup scores 11 runs, but he did just enough to keep them in the game, enough to where that Varsho home run after his last of the game. But only thrown in 80 pitches. That is a 12.5% splitter rate, by far the lowest in his 7 MLB starts, 4 of which have come in the postseason. I think his Savage has been very defined by two different things in this is over the top arm angle and his splitter. And he didn't have one of those things in this start. And that's, when you eliminate that big threat, you're as a hitter, you're guessing between fastball and slider. And I think it becomes a lot easier to hit off the Savage when his splitter is not really in motion. And when you look at where the pitches were, it's pretty clear why he wasn't throwing it. He threw 10 splitters. I think like 3 or 4 of them were pretty good. He did get a few whiffs. But the rest of them were just completely all over the place, not even close. Um, and we saw something similar with Kevin Gosman as in game 2 as well, which I'll get to. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, yeah, his splitter had he had one called strike on his splitter, out of 10 total pitches. So I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so a lot of them obviously landed as balls. But yeah, anything more before we want to get into game two?
Yeah, just a couple quick things, some housekeeping notes. Addison Barger hits the grand slam. The big report after the game was that he had slept on Davis Schneider's couch the night before. That became a superstition. He did it again after game 1. That was pretty funny. Perhaps sleeping on Davis Schneider's couch allowed him to hit his second MLB home run against a left-handed pitcher in 131 tries. Anthony Bonda served up a high and inside slider, and he deposited it into the right field bleachers. Well, not the bleachers, but the right field, section of fans. And then Kirk homered later in the inning as well. And yeah, after the Barger grand slam, like that's, not having to use any of your high leverage relievers for the Blue Jays was obviously pretty huge.
Yeah, especially when you only have one more game till you travel, so it's kind of all hands on deck for game two.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But yeah, this was definitely a massive win for the Blue Jays. They came out swinging in that one.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Kind of let the baseball world know that they're here to compete. Let people like myself know for sure. Uh, but yeah, do we want to get into game two?
Yeah, I'll let you take the lead on game 2 because I think Chris, your best preseason take was how in you were on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think that's probably where your preseason predictions have shined the brightest,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
especially with his 2 complete games in the postseason.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, for those unaware, I had him as a top 10 pitcher and top 50 player for 2025, whereas a lot of people with lists probably didn't have it that way. And I think he kind of got forgotten in the a lot of pitchers having great years last year, him getting injured and not being able to throw as many innings and also
Having a bad first start.
having a bad first start, and then also Roki Sasaki getting signed this past offseason, and he wasn't necessarily, Yamamoto wasn't necessarily the new hot
Otani
thing.
returning to pitching.
Yeah, he wasn't the new
Snell
hot thing
coming in.
in LA for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this this past Saturday, he throws another complete game, allows one run, doesn't walk anybody, strikes out 8, has a 32% called strike and whiff rate. And it was the 10th game with 9 innings pitched, no walks, and 8+ strikeouts. And it was the third game in World Series history since 1964, when complete games are a little more rare for sure. His 32.4% splitter rate was the third highest of his career and the highest since the Tokyo game of this year. And
In
he,
March.
yeah, back in March, yeah, back,
If
10
you remember that was this year.
yeah, that was that is pretty crazy. Um, and he retired the final 20 batters of the game, ended up with a 42.3% chase rate, which is tied for the 11th highest in a World Series game since 2008, minimum 25 pitches outside the strike zone. So yeah, what did you think about what Yamamoto was able to do?
It was just remarkable. I mean, he was making quick work of these hitters. 8 strikeouts is, I feel like in that scenario is almost kind of ideal because it kept his pitch count at 105 for the game. Yeah, I mean, like he's been just so in command of everything. this postseason. Obviously, no base runners allowed after the third inning. And I mean, like obviously I've been a big proponent in recent years of listening to the numbers, taking a guy out in the third time through the order, all of that stuff. But this is obviously a scenario where it's like, no, you got to keep him out there. There's absolutely no way you're taking this guy out. I thought in the seventh inning, I said to a friend of mine that was next to me that's a Dodgers fan, I think they're gonna have him go through the eighth and then have Roki pitch the ninth. And he had a very quick eighth inning, and I'm like, wow, they're going to send it back out there. And yeah, it was never a doubt.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Trying to look at some extra numbers. Like, yeah, he um wasn't really that luck based necessarily either. He had 5 batted balls allowed with a 500 average, and he allowed 4 hits. So it kind of lined up for the most part. Maybe it was a little bit on the luckier side, but yeah, absolutely. Pounded the strike zone, and when he wasn't in the strike zone, um, the Blue Jays were swinging at it. That's for sure. It was definitely yeah, definitely a very good performance. I'm trying to see the amount of at bats because the actual average versus expected batting average. There's definitely a bit of a difference, but
Mhm.
Yamamoto was
Another game with 24 batted balls, which is just brutal for my searches.
indeed, indeed.
Second straight game. It's like, dude, you can strike out 7. It's okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah,
For an extra weak ground ball out
yeah, right, right, right.
or a
Um,
pop up.
but yeah, I think the story for Yamamoto is the 0 walks.
Yes.
In this one, and limiting the base runners in that respect, because it makes it so that not 255 expected batting average isn't bad, but 255 expected on base percentage is pretty bad. So, that's largely what helped keep the Blue Jays off the bases um was the fact that he didn't walk anybody as opposed to like Blake Snell. He walked 3 guys in 5 innings the day before. So his ability to either keep it in the strike zone or make guys chase really helped him out in this one for sure.
I do kind of feel bad for Kevin Gosman, because I think there was a point in this game where it felt like he was, I don't want to say outdueling Yamamoto is the word, because it was knotted at 1 for a while. So I feel like it's hard to say that one is pitching better than the other when the game is tied for a while. But he was matching, if not exceeding, what Yamamoto was doing up until that Will Smith home run of the seventh inning. 6 2/3 innings pitched was Gosman's final count. 4 hits allowed, 3 runs, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs, which both happened in the seventh inning, to both Will Smith and Max Muncy, and a 38% called strike and whiff rate. Um, yeah, Kevin Gosman allowed back-to-back hits with 2 outs in the first inning and didn't allow another base runner until that seventh inning home run by Smith. That's how good he was for much of this game. 6 out of his 18 batted balls allowed had a launch angle at or above 45 degrees. That's a 33.3% rate, tied for the second highest in a World Series game since 2015. Um, that's uh, that's how good he was. The note that I had on him, and this ties back to Trey Savage earlier, was, Kevin Gosman and Trey Savage are two very similar pitchers. They're right-handed. They are 3 pitch pitchers, with those 3 pitches being four-seam splitter. They happen to have the exact same arsenal and come from the exact same side. The big difference is the arm angle. It obviously looks very different coming from Savage than it does from Gosman. But stuff wise, the Dodgers are obviously kind of expecting the same thing from both pitchers. Like I mentioned with Savage, he obviously didn't throw his splitter too much. Gosman didn't really have his slider. He threw it 4 times in the first inning and didn't throw it again the rest of the game. And the location seemed pretty good on it. He did allow a base hit to Will Smith on it, but it was not like a horrible pitch. It was on the outer edge of the strike zone. Um, the the vertical movement was not very good on the slider, but it was being thrown 2 miles per hour harder than normal. And a lot of times you see pitchers when their velocity is up on a pitch, their movement is down, and vice versa. It's kind of a trade off in many scenarios, and that's kind of what we saw from Gosman there. So I was kind of curious if there was a particular reason he wasn't throwing his slider very much, because like I said, location wasn't bad, and if he didn't like that the movement was down, the velocity was up 2 miles an hour, and I look, I'm not gonna act like I know everything. I'm sure there's a valid reason that I'm missing, but I looked at that and thought, if the issue is the movement's bad, the velocity can be lowered, and maybe that will neutralize things a little bit. But when you get to that point, when you're not when you become a two-pitch pitcher after the fifth batter of the game, guys are going to pick up on that, and they have a 50-50 shot. And I think in the seventh inning, Will Smith gets a fastball inside. He takes it out for a home run. Max Muncy gets another fastball outside. He goes the opposite way. And when you don't have one of your three pitches, I think it becomes a lot easier to guess what's coming and to sit on something. And there's obviously a big speed difference between the four seam and the splitter. So I would imagine it's easier than normal to, distinguish between the two in the moment when it's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to look at. His usage throughout the year or throughout the past, few years has not been super high on that pitch anyway. I'm trying to
But he
see.
threw it 4 times.
He threw it 4 times total
Mhm.
throughout the night. So a rate of 5%. His rate for the year was 9%. So it is definitely
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely off a little bit. I was just surprised that he just completely made it a non-factor after the first inning.
yeah, especially
Like I would
when
have you'd think he'd mix it in once in a while just to remind pitchers that it's still there, or remind hitters that it's still there.
yeah, and there were a decent amount of right-handed hitters in that lineup.
Hmm.
And that's who you're gonna throw it to. And yeah, you got Betts, Smith, um, Kike Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pajes. So plenty of righties to throw that to. So yeah, it is definitely interesting. I do wonder what went into that, especially completely abandoning it for the final 5 2/3
Yeah.
um, of the
Yeah, I'm
performance.
not saying you'd be throwing it on every two-strike pitch. Like clearly his I'll be the first to tell you that objectively the two best Gosman pitches are his splitter and four seam, but I don't know, I thought it was crazy to just completely abandon it for most of the game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely interesting. Um,
That was the lowest rate of overall, it was the lowest rate of sliders he's thrown in a game since August 30th. Um yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, interesting. Maybe it's like sort of a feel pitch for him, if it's
Hmm.
working. If he feels good about it, he'll throw it more. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Maybe it's not necessarily a huge part of the game plan. But yeah. Um, anything more you wanted to talk about with game two specifically?
I mean, this was the Yamamoto game, right? It was just, I mean, it felt very automatic every time he went out there. Like, it just rare to say about a pitcher in any game. Especially, I don't know, I always think that something is coming offensively in a postseason game that, anything can happen at any time. But I mean, the Blue Jays just really didn't have an answer for him at any point. I did have one more note from game one that I forgot to get to. So I apologize for jumping around. But the Addison Barger, he was a pinch hit home run. He later he got another, I think he hit a double later in the game. He became or sorry, it was a single, but he became the seventh in history, and the fourth in World Series history with two hits and a home run as a pinch hitter. He joined I always love going through these lists, but the first guy to do it was Dusty Rhodes from the 1954. He did it in Game Two of that World Series. Brian Hunter, who was the catcher uh, on the or maybe not the catcher. I'm thinking of a different guy. Brian Hunter from the 1991 Braves against the Twins did it in Game Five. Milt Thompson did it in Game Three of another World Series game that featured the Blue Jays, the 1993 World Series. He was on the Phillies, and now we start making our way into the names that we know. Raul Ibanez in 2012, Mike Brasso in that 2020 ALDS Game Five against the Yankees, where he homered off Chapman, and then G-Man Choi, who did so in Game Two of the 2021 ALDS against the Red Sox, and then Barger. That's the list of guys with two hits and a homer as a pinch hitter in a postseason game.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. That is pretty awesome for sure. Um, yeah, cool stuff. Dusty Rhodes, I find that's a great name because
I would
there's
have thought 1954 was way later. Is way later than what he would have played. That's a 1920s name.
absolutely, it's also the name of the first result on Google is a professional wrestler
Ah, I
because
didn't know that.
I'm not even I'm not
That's I
even
mean
in
that's not a real name. Oh, I guess the baseball player name definitely isn't real either.
yeah, no, it's a good stage name for
James
sure.
Lamar Rhodes,
Nice.
1954 World Series champion, had a 104 OPS plus in 7 seasons, 567 games, 76 games rather, 3.5 FWAR. A left fielder and pinch hitter, as noted.
Yeah, good for Dusty.
Got
What
MVP votes. Oh wow, this guy was insane in 1954. What is going on here? 82 games, 186 places. So as you can imagine, a lot of that coming as a pinch hitter. And just a casual slash line of 341, 410, 695 for an 1105 OPS as a pinch hitter. Why was this guy only pinch hitting? I mean, I guess this team won the World Series, so who cares? But yeah, 26th in MVP voting with 186 plate appearances in a season,
that's absolutely insane. I'm looking at his
15
page
home
now.
runs,
He had a
above
yeah, and then
1%.
he had a 2381 OPS in the World Series and 7 plate appearances. So
That's insane.
he kept
Eight
it up.
point 8.1% home run rate.
Man, Dusty Rhodes.
This guy was
Um,
crazy.
Dusty Rhodes, not to be confused with the professional wrestler, but yeah, I mean he was incredible. I have to yeah, he must have been like maybe not top 10 in win probability added, but like
Is there a way I can view the win probability added? Yeah, there is, right? The leaderboard
probably
from 1954.
definitely on Fangraphs.
Oh,
Um,
for sure on fit. I bet you can get on StatHead.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, Dusty Rhodes led the Giants in win probability added in the World Series. That's pretty cool. He
Do they
had
hand out World Series MVPs in 1954?
um I
Because I mean,
don't think so.
there's one play from that series that everybody knows.
Right. Yeah. I don't
That,
think
of course, the catch.
I don't think Mays hit that great. Yeah, Mays had an 802 OPS, which is good. But
Yeah.
you did have that defensive play. But no,
Hmm.
Dusty Rhodes was the real hero.
Yeah. Nobody likes to talk about Dusty Rhodes. That's where ARR comes in.
Yeah. Finally, he's getting his due after
After 71
71 years of
years.
being unnoticed, unappreciated. Uh
I bet our good pal Mark Simon knows all about Dusty Rhodes.
yeah, he's probably like, guys, catch up. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, keep up.
That yeah, I would agree.
Oh, oh, he literally ranked 10th in the National League in win probability added
Nice.
in
Nice. In the
1954.
National League. Yeah. Wow.
10th in the National
In
League.
186 plate appearances.
And
It's crazy.
he ranked second in championship win probability added in the National League. I don't think that includes postseason.
That is
That's
awesome. I
insane.
love that.
That is a great story. That is
Just
awesome.
for context, like 186 plate appearances. Uh, who are some guys? Christian Moore had 184 plate appearances this year.
Yeah,
That's Ha-Sung Kim, who was injured for most of the year, had 191.
right. Imagine one of those guys
Yeah, getting
being
MVP votes.
and kind of rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet that one baseball writer felt like he's gonna feel so vindicated 71 years later hearing us talk about it. Because
yeah.
it was definitely one guy, probably a New York writer, that gave him like a 10th place vote. It's like, no, you don't know that, understand, but trust me, Big Dusty, he had a year.
When the advanced numbers come out, we're gonna know. This guy was
Yeah, I bet you can't name 10 guys in the National League that helped their team win more than that guy, is what he probably said.
yeah, sure. I I think that's probably exactly what he said. I'm looking for his
Finished
1954 splits,
yeah.
but
Got 20% of the MVP vote shares as Eddie Matthews in that season,
nice.
who got
Very nice.
some votes. 25% of the votes of Al Kaline. Yeah, just
Um
a great year. Really
yeah, I mean
solid
that's talk about
campaign.
making the most of your opportunities. That's
Yeah.
what Dusty Rhodes did in 1954. Baseball Reference is not allowing me to see his 1954 split, so maybe we'll have to look
Hmm.
at that another day. Um, but
I'll try to do some digging. Yeah, it wasn't letting me pull up StatHead a minute ago.
so yeah, I mean, who was it? Addison Barger who did
Yeah, Addison. Yeah. So anyway, Addison Barger.
Addison Barger joins the likes of the legendary Dusty Rhodes, not the professional wrestler, but the New York Giants, uh, not the football team, New York Giants left fielder who ranked 10th in win probability added in the National League in 1954, helped the Giants to a World Series. That's what we can compare Addison Barger to.
This is
That's
like the original.
that's a pretty big deal.
This is like the original of that one Matt Carpenter season with the Yankees.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good comparison.
Yeah, he had 154 plate appearances that year. So actually, that's actually kind of the perfect comparison.
Yeah, no, I
Why?
didn't even think of
Yeah.
that.
If so that seals it. Matt Carpenter was 32 plate appearances away from getting MVP votes that season.
Yeah,
That settles it.
probably. Oh, yeah, I think that checks out. Um, yeah, so
And even if his OPS dropped 32 points, still would have gotten it
right. Yeah. Um,
in those extra 32 plate appearances.
yeah, I mean, naturally things will balance out. Um,
Yeah.
all right, awesome. Anything more before we kind of talk about what the rest of the series may look like?
Yeah, we can get into some previews here. Game 3, it is going to be Tyler Glasnow versus Max Scherzer. Um, I compiled all of the numbers that these pitchers have had against the hitters on these postseason, these World Series rosters. Some of them are more valuable than others. If you can guess, most of the 169 plate appearances that Max Scherzer's had against these Dodger hitters came against, Braves era Freddie Freeman when Scherzer was on the Nationals. They came up against Marlins era Miguel Rojas. This is not a lot of these are not very updated, but it helps to have context. Do you want to start with Scherzer's numbers against the Dodgers?
Sure. Yeah, he's faced these hitters specifically combined 169 times. They've slashed 218, 314, 401, 715 or 401 for 715 OPS. They have a 30% whiff rate and 24% strikeout rate against Max Scherzer.
Yeah, I included the home run just because I thought it was enjoyable. Betts took him deep this year. Freddie Freeman has taken him deep on 3 separate occasions, all of which, with Scherzer as a member of the Nationals and Freeman a member of the Atlanta Braves in 2021, 2017, and 2016. Max Muncy took him deep in 2018, and Miguel Rojas all the way back in 2014. That home run from 11 years ago, I'm sure, will be played on the Fox broadcast when Miguel Rojas comes up against Scherzer.
Yeah, I hope it was a home game so we could see the that fish statue in Marlins Park.
Let's go to
Oh, I
MLB Film Room. Let's do some very important research here.
think that's a good idea.
We might need some screen share. While you're looking that up, you wanna just run through the Glasnow numbers against the Blue Jays?
Yeah, let me increase the sharing permission on this Zoom
All
here.
right.
Um Shane Bieber.
Oh yeah, Shane Bieber not. Or no. Do we're doing game 3 first, so let's
Yeah,
do Glasnow.
Glasnow. Yeah, Glasnow combined in his career has faced these Blue Jays hitters 93 times. They've slashed 183, 280, 305 for a 585 OPS against them. He's allowed 2 home runs against them. One of them was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2021. That was one of 48, I believe, that Vlad Jr. hit that year. And Glasnow also allowed a home run to world-renowned slugger Andres Jimenez in 2020. The Blue Jays hitters have a combined 26.5% whiff rate and 29.5% strikeout rate, which feels like kind of on the lower end for Tyler Glasnow, which makes a good bit of sense considering this lineup. But yeah, Glasnow's done well essentially. Anytime you have a sub 600 OPS against a certain opponent, you kind of have to like your odds.
MLB Film Room has failed me.
That is disappointing. Yeah.
No. This is going to happen. We're going to watch this video one way or another. We're going to find out what day was this home run hit. Please hold. I realized my StatCast search had exit velocity, and that was not a thing in 2014.
Yeah,
it didn't exist. There was no exit velocity. This was all right. This is Marlins versus Nationals, July 9th, 2014. I will find this.
This was the last year that John Smoltz enjoyed baseball. It's 2014, pre-exit velocity.
Actually pretty legit given how pitching was in the league that year.
Yeah, fair. The league OPS was like 700 flat. Yeah, for some reason baseball me, so I can't get like the game log of when it might have happened. I could try fan.
Oh, you know what? I think Rojas would have been on the Dodgers at this point.
Oh, possibly.
I think that's a real thing, right?
Yeah, probably.
I am finding. Oh, come on.
It was 2014.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the
Forgot about that. Okay, why is I'm literally getting the 404 page not found, just trying to go to Miguel Rojas's baseball reference page. They don't want us to see this home run, Chris.
This is conspiracy.
They don't want us to know about this.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna go through a back door. We're getting here. This is my life's mission on this podcast, is to find this home run from 2014. Miguel Rojas. All right, game logs. His rookie year, 2014. July 9th. Oh, you know what? So I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Miguel Rojas is on the Dodgers. Yeah, you know where Max Scherzer was in 2014? Not the Nationals.
He's on the Tigers.
Dodgers. I got both teams wrong. That's pretty embarrassing. All right, I found what inning was this hit in?
I mean, we could just go to like the game highlights.
I'm literally there right now. I just want to find out. Okay, top 5. Do they have it? Is it in this recap video? No, I don't care about Wandy Uribe's strikeout in this inning.
Nope.
Nope, don't care about the AJ Ellis strikeout. Oh my God, they skipped over it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
It was there until
they literally. Oh my God, dude. Dude, they showed. Okay, they skip when they show Max Scherzer. They skip to the top of the 5th inning, which is when the homer happened. They go, Wandy Uribe strikes out. Now here's a 6th inning strikeout of Hanley Ramirez. Notice how the Dodgers suddenly have a run. I wonder how that happened. Is there a condensed game?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, we've finally found it.
After like 10 minutes of digging. So if AR on YouTube, this is the most AR on YouTube moment ever. We have, ladies and gentlemen, we got it. We got the Miguel Rojas Max Scherzer tape.
Boy, he does a lot in the community. Ball hit well. Davis going back. He's going to look up on this one, and Rojas has hit it out. It's a 2-run homer. First run of the ball game for LA.
Is that the first home run of his career?
It is indeed.
Wow.
Oh,
And it comes against
first
the
career
right-hand
home
pitcher,
run.
Max Scherzer.
Oh, dude. Oh, okay. Listen. All right. I want Miguel Rojas batting cleanup tomorrow. I don't care what his. Oh, I don't care what his numbers are. I like this. This needs to be shown on the broadcast. And Miguel Rojas is taking Max Scherzer deep before. You got to go back to his first major league home run. That's how Joe Davis would say.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. That's a good Davis cadence right
yeah.
there.
40 plate appearances that these two have had with one another. It's a 243 batting average, a 405 slug, 3 doubles, 1 home run. Yeah, this 30% whiff rate, pretty in line with his numbers against the rest of the team. Yeah, no, I need to see this. I want to see this tomorrow night. I know Rojas realistically won't be in the starting lineup at all, and probably almost certainly will not get an at bat against Max Scherzer. Dave Roberts need to do what's right. One, you need to scratch Tyler Glass now and give us one last Kershaw versus Scherzer moment. Some things are bigger than winning the World Series.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes the unction is more important.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree.
And I need Miguel Rojas batting cleanup, and I need that clip on the broadcast. Well, you all remember this one 11 years ago in July.
Yep. It's like this. This is the year. This is the year before launch angle existed. Every batted ball before this did not have a launch angle.
Did not have an exit velocity. This ball was not hit at any mile per hour. Back before all this wokeness took over. This was how many teams ago for Max Scherzer? Nationals, Mets, Rangers. Oh no, Nationals, Dodgers, Mets, Rangers, Blue Jays. Nationals, Mets, Rangers, Dodgers.
5?
6 teams ago, I think.
Yeah.
No, 7, right? Tigers, Nationals, Dodgers, Mets, Rangers, 6 teams ago. And then 2 teams ago for Miguel Rojas, because I believe he went Dodgers, Marlins, back to Dodgers.
Yeah.
Anyway, game 4. You got Shohei Ohtani versus Shane Bieber. Bieber has not faced any of these hitters since 2023, where he faced both of the Hernandezes, both Kike and Teoscar, who were not on the Dodgers in that when Shane Bieber faced him, I believe. 54 plate appearances overall against these hitters. They are 11 for 53. That's a 208 average with a 222 OBP, 396 slug, and a 618 OPS. 2 home runs hit by Mookie Betts in 2019 and Shohei Ohtani in 2018, who will be the opposing pitcher in this game. 34.3% whiff rate, 35.2% K rate. These numbers are cool, but they're not very recent. So, but they're there. As for Ohtani, he has faced these Blue Jays hitters 75 times. They are 19 for 67. Slug 284, 360, 478, 838. He's allowed 3 home runs, 2 of those to George Springer, 1 as a member of the Astros in 2018, 1 as a member of the Blue Jays in 2022, and 1 to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. also in 2022. 28% whiff rate, 26.7% strikeout rate.
Yeah. And yeah, Ohtani starting game 4 definitely opens up the window for a heroic late series bullpen moment, which is awesome. So excited for that if that does happen. If the Dodgers win the series, that's kind of how I would want it to go down.
100%. That's what I mentioned in the last pod. But yeah, that's the dream scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Like if the Dodgers got to win this one,
it's like how before the WBC, everyone was just like, all right, listen. So Ohtani can pitch relief, right? So like, hear me out. Like the Japan's up by like, I don't know, 1 or 2 runs in the 9th inning. And then you get Trout with 2 outs with a chance to tie or take the lead. And that's how it's going to go. And then it happened. Although to be fair, Trout in that scenario was not going to tie the game or take him the lead, but I don't care.
Yeah, right. Well,
we've gotten this magical scenario before. We can do it again.
It was a 1-run game, right?
It was 3-1, I believe.
I
could be wrong, maybe.
It was 3-2.
You can't really go on Baseball Reference for that one, unfortunately.
World
By the way, the
Baseball
World Baseball Classic, like when that Chiron comes up in the games and you see like I think it's Judge, Cal Raleigh, and Bobby Witt in their Team USA jerseys, that gets me so fired up. I'm so excited for the WBC this year.
Yeah, seen sick. Um,
Skeens is as well.
yeah, oh yeah. No, yeah, Japan won 3-2.
Okay, then yeah, it was a chance to tie it. I remember it was 9-1-2 and Mookie Betts hit into a double play in that inning. When I think it was McNeil led off. McNeil led off, got on base, Betts hit into a double play, and then Trout struck out
Yeah.
on that sweeper, on that 3-2 sweeper.
Yeah, and yeah, if he took it, it would have been a strike.
Yeah,
It was in the
you and I
zone.
were locked in from Townhouse 8.
Yes, indeed.
Good
And then
times.
yeah, that was some of the best. Yeah, it was a good take that you had later on in the years. Like, yeah, some of the best baseball games played all year were
In the
in that,
WBC, yeah,
in
that
that World Baseball
postseason
Classic.
was not great in my memory.
Yeah,
We got a couple. I mean, we got 2 7-game LCSs. That was cool, but like neither game was particularly memorable.
exactly. And yeah, all the wild card series were sweeps.
Yeah,
None of the LDSs went 5.
I think only there was
No,
tough.
the World Series went 5.
Yeah,
It was kind of a nightmare for the MLB. Like, I'm sure they lost a lot of revenue through that.
through the
Luckily,
Rangers Diamondbacks World Series and no Yankees in the playoffs and no Dodgers after the LDS.
yeah, no Red Sox, no Mets, like no
Yeah,
Cubs. I
no
mean,
Cubs and no
pretty
Giants.
pretty much all their big markets except for the Dodgers.
That's what should have happened this year in the we're campaigning for a salary cap year.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
That's what should have happened this year when we get the Rangers Diamondbacks World Series.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Anyway, go enjoy your baseball. Hopefully we're back on the next pod to talk about some more upcoming games, whenever that may be.
yeah, well, I'll be out of town, so
You are out of town. Okay, you're
we
right.
will be talking about who won,
No matter what happens, we
no
will be
matter
talking
what.
about the next 3 to 5 games.
Yes, indeed. I mean, yeah, because the game 5's Wednesday, and yeah, so
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. All right.
um yeah, all right. Yeah, that shall do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you were listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also, feel free to check out the guest interview playlist. Feel free to listen to the Matt Brash episode. Also, we've had Mark Simon on 4 times. We've had Jeff Passan. We've had Chris Rose, Sarah Langs, Mike Petriello, Foolish Bailey, among many others. Feel free to check that out. Also, follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter, @Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram, @Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram @Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time, where we will be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball, or
Including
we
who
will be
won the World
talking.
Series.
We will be talking, yeah, all the happenings in Major League Baseball, which will mostly be the World Series champion, Dodgers or Blue Jays. We will see you then.
This conversation is over.